I get up and then all day I'm tired and I want to take a nap all day. I have no motivation. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to work. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to hang out with anyone. I don't.
What's up? Welcome into the Warrior Room. Hey, how many of you can relate to that intro vid? That's a real state, right? So yeah, today we're dealing with that issue, the topic of anxiety. And a lot of us are dealing with anxiety, and it comes from a lot of different sources. There's so much going on today. Everything from diaspora wars to deportations to the stuff that's going on in the White House, the economy, like everything. You know, a lot of people are losing their businesses, a lot of people losing their homes. There are natural disasters occurring. But hey, what's also up with the whole time speeding up thing? My birthday was a few days ago, and it just happened to be one of the days when time was supposed to be sped up the fastest. Like, time is speeding up. No one can argue with that, right? I made a promise to my niece. I make really good banana pudding. I love banana pudding. And I promised my niece that I would make her some banana pudding. And I thought that was this year. I thought it was a couple of months ago. Color me a bad uncle. I made her some since then. But my mom told me that, yeah, you told her that last year. And I'm saying that to say that when you think you made a promise a few months ago, but it was actually last year, I think that speaks to time speeding up. Like, that's crazy. But anyway, like I said, we all know anxiety comes from a lot of different places, a lot of different sources, and panic attacks can show up in at a moment's notice. And it can be a surprise. It can be a situation that you're just not expecting, and it just shows up. So in this video, we're looking at TikTokers who talked a little bit about anxiety and the ways that you can deal with it. I trust that in this video, you might find a nugget or two or a coping mechanism to help you deal with anxiety in general, and if it just shows up in the moment, which can lead to a panic attack. Hey, of course, these videos is not an exhaustive list of, ways to deal with anxiety and how anxiety shows up, but it can be anything from social interactions, merely walking into a room with people and how to deal with that, to having to speak on stage, like the anxiety of public speaking. And I trust that there's some nugget in here that's going to resonate with many of you on some level. And what I really like is at the very end of this, the last video is a really cool technique, I think, that will help a lot of people when it comes to dealing with anxiety. I thought it was pretty cool. I did it, and I hope you'll do it too. But I won't hold you any longer. We'll go ahead and dive into this video and see if we can get some nuggets about how to deal with anxiety, because a lot of us are facing it. Like I said, it comes from a lot of different places. It can show up in an instant. So I hope something in this video helps you if you deal with anxiety. Let's get into it.
I don't think that people really understand social anxiety. It's like, let me explain it. Like, imagine, that feeling when you about to get on a roller coaster and you get all the way up to the top and then you know that it's about to drop and you get that feeling in your chest like, oh my God, like you so anxious. That's how we feel when it's time to talk to somebody. Like, let me give a simple example of like how crazy and how this shit feel. So imagine you in school, right? And they doing attendance and they get to your name. You know it's about to be your name, probably 2 names left. In your head, you're replaying over and over again how you're gonna say here. So it's like, how am I say here? Your mind just start racing. Then when it get closer to you, your heart start beating fast as hell just for you to say here. Like, people try to make it seem like so easy, but it's not. Like, to walk into a room, especially like as an adult, it's hard because it's like you have to have those social interactions. So like I lack like eye contact because it's like I know exactly what to say, but it makes me nervous when I have to say it to somebody. So if I look away, you feel me, I can talk a little bit easier. It's easier for me to talk, or talking on the phone is a lot better for me. But like actual human connections, being in like tight spaces is weird for me too. Like, I don't like people touching me. I don't like hugs. It's like too much. Like, every everything is like so overwhelming for me. But it's like I said, I'm working on it because I know that I'm going to need, you know, those things. But having social anxiety is not for, like, it's hard. Like, it's literally hard, and it's draining. It's so draining. It's draining to have so much to say, but your body is literally like so scared to say it. You're not scared, but your body, like, everything is like, I don't know. It's just overwhelming.
Anxiety is probably one of the most lonely, most isolating things to have, because you are your own worst enemy and you live inside your head.
So I'm the art doctor, and I'm going to show you a really cool trick to help you calm down when the anxiety is kicking your butt, and then I'll tell you why it works. What you're going to do is open your mouth as wide as you can and repeat the letter R over and over. R, 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 R. Whew. This will cause you to yawn, which activates your parasympathetic nervous system, slows your heart rate, slows your breathing, and hopefully will give you some relief. Give it a try. Let me know if it worked.
Careful with.
I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, what? or, hey, it looks a little wild, but maybe it'll help somebody. Maybe it'll help you. I'm not opposed to trying it if I'm in an intense situation. You know, I might try to do it when I'm by myself, but hey, when you're in the moment, you grasp at whatever straws you need to help you get through that moment. Let's keep going.
People who have social anxiety, let me explain. They overthink everything before they even walk in the room. Sorry for being awkward is their way of saying, I'm trying my best to stay present. Silence doesn't mean they're rude. It means they're calculating 100 different ways to say hi. They might cancel plans last minute, not because they don't want to see you, but because their nerves wanted to fight that day. Eye contact can feel like a battle. Speaking up feels like a performance. They rehearse conversations in their head and still fumble when it's time to talk. They're scared of being judged. Not because they're weak, but because they've been misunderstood before. They prefer a deep connection, not crowds. That quiet person might be full of gold once they feel safe. Small talk can feel like climbing a mountain. But talking about real stuff, that's their cup of tea. Social anxiety ain't about being antisocial. It's about fighting invisible battles just to show up. Once they warm up to you, it's like watching a flower bloom. Full of insight, love, jokes, and positive energy.
You struggle with anxiety.
I'm gonna pause it right there. I like what she said. Like, sometimes something as simple as saying hello or here or whatever prompts a lot of anxiety in people. And what it makes me think about is small talk. I'm not a really big fan of small talk. I feel like small talk can be draining. And I understand that it is necessary in some instances and in some situations. But there are a lot of us that thrive on deeper connections, deeper conversations. But when it comes to small talk, it is a necessary, I think, intro into conversation. It's a necessary intro into getting to know someone, warming up to a space, whether you walk into a party, whether you walk into an after work function, or you're at a networking event. And the small talk is necessary, because one thing that people need to realize is when we're all in those situations, a lot of people are feeling the same way. So if you're feeling anxious about saying hi, if you're feeling anxious about saying hello to a new person or being open, just realize it's all a part of the experience. It's all a part of the game. We're all trying to figure stuff out in certain moments. And I offer that nugget to anyone who feels that sort of anxiety when you walk into those situations. Hey, it's okay. That person doesn't know you. You don't know them. We're all trying to find a common ground. And if you keep that in mind when you walk into situations, I think that'll go a long way to heading off that anxiety. Because when you walk into those situations, you have to know that the other person, the person that you're talking to, they probably feel the same way that you do. And they're just looking for some comfort. They're looking for a connection, and they want to be accepted. So to all of my people, to all of my warriors who do feel that anxiety, know that your presence is just as important as the other person that you're talking to. And that other person's presence is just as important as yours. And it's okay to engage in those interactions. Don't feel slighted. Don't feel inferior. Don't feel that you're less than. The truth is, when you're in that space, you deserve to be in that space, and everyone deserves to be there in that moment. That includes you. So just take the pressure off of yourself. Enjoy the moment and start to look for what you can gain from that experience, the blessings that are in that moment. And that's one thing that I do. Hey, I deserve to be here. We're all in this together. I'm here to be my best self, my most authentic self, and make new connections. Or even if it's not making a lasting connection, it's, hey, I'm here to get whatever I came to get from this experience, and whatever I get from it, it is okay. Let's enjoy this moment. Let's have a good time, and let's keep it moving. I think if we approach interactions from that perspective, I think it takes care of anxiety, or it at least diminish it to a huge capacity. And it allows you to just be in the moment. Let's keep going.
This is a video for you, okay? I want to take you to a place where anxiety cannot exist, and that's right here, right now, in the present moment. So one of the worst things about anxiety is that it'll have you in the future trying to control things that you have no control over, and it's making you miserable every day by the second. So I want to bring you back to the present moment, and we can do this a couple of different ways, right? We can do this through meditation, or by just being grateful, and practicing gratitude. Or another way is by action. I always say that action defeats anxiety, right? So if you worry about something, take the small steps each and every day to get a little bit closer to that goal. So those are some tips that may help you out. And I want you to come back, of course, and let me know how it worked out for you.
I get up and then all.
I have to stop it there. One thing, and I really wanted to include that video because I cannot understate the power of meditation. I think it's very important that we are all rooted in a consistent spiritual practice. Let me say that again. We all need to be rooted in a consistent spiritual practice, whether that's meditation and prayer and yoga, or meditation, prayer, yoga, where it's best if it's all three of those things. But at least if it's one of those three things, being rooted in a spiritual practice goes a long way to your overall well-being. I can't overstate when you are consistently involved in meditation, and I'm sure I've said this on previous videos, when you're consistently involved in meditation, you gradually and naturally get to a state where you're more at peace. You get into a state where you're living closer to the source of God. And I'll say this again here. When you're living to the source, let's say that let's say a group of people move to a new settlement in the world. And you can take this back 100 years when people were traveling and they landed somewhere, or they ended up somewhere, they traveled somewhere where they ended up in a place and there's a water source. A lot of towns, homes, and communities were built when they found a source of water, because a source of water was very important to building that community. You needed to be able to drink. You needed to be able to clean. You needed to be able to wash things. So a lot of colonies built up where there were sources of water. And the closer you are to that source, the more you have access to that source, right? That's natural. That makes sense. And I liken that to being close to the source of God. And when we are meditative consistently, we live closer to the source of God. Because when you become meditative, you naturally are quieter, which means that your thoughts, we all have thoughts that happen all the time, but your thoughts become, I won't say less, but your thoughts become, I will say less, because your mind is not clouded by so many external influences that you are influenced by new thoughts all the time, when we're on our phones all the time, when we're on social media, when we're out talking to a lot of people. The purpose of meditation is to quiet all that. The purpose of meditation is to quiet your mind a little bit so that when you're tapped in, when you're at peace, you have more access to that still small voice, to the voice of God, to the voice of the Most High. And the closer we live to that source, the more insight we get. And beyond that, we get that insight quicker. Because the more you're tapped in and you are able to recognize that still small voice inside, the more you can recognize it, which means you don't have as much clutter. And when you don't have as much clutter, clutter being all these thoughts, all the confusion, you get the message faster. And that might mean your life at the end of the day. The quicker you can get information when you're faced with a situation, especially when you're faced with something that's unexpected, when you're tapped in, you get the messages faster, you get to act on it sooner, you get the information you need to navigate a situation in that moment. That's what I mean by living close to the source. So I can't overestimate the importance of just consistent meditation. It creates a quieter space within you overall, every moment of the day. And you'll notice if you've, and I'm sure the people who do consistent meditation, the people who do engage in a consistent spiritual practice, you can attest to this. You know that I get information sooner. I am more in line or in tune with discernment. Messages come faster. Messages come clearer. I can discern messages more easily and more effortlessly because I'm so close to source that I understand when source is speaking to me. So that's what I mean when I talk about living closer to the source, or living closer to the well, if you will. So that's why I feel like this anxiety video is super important, because I'm not going to say that, oh, hey, what I have said here is the end all be all when it comes to anxiety. But I promise you, if you live closer to the source, if you get rooted in the spiritual practice, and when it comes to spiritual practice, I invite you to do what feels natural to you. For a lot of us, that's, you know what, I can start with meditation. I don't know anything about yoga. You have to go learn that. And there are very beneficial forms of yoga. I invite you to try Isha yoga. Look at Sadhguru Jagi Vasudev. That's ISHA yoga, Isha yoga. Go and check those videos out. Lessons from Sadhguru are all over YouTube. It'll definitely give you some physical things you can do to tap in to your inner self, to clear out and not clear out, but to align your internal energies, which is really important. I invite you to try that out. But again, living closer to the source is what's going to help us in these moments of anxiety, because I felt it too. And I have to rely on what I know about spiritual work, all the spiritual work I've done, the yoga, the meditation, prayer. Because this pause is so long, I won't get into prayer right now, but I'm sure I'll mention it again by the end of this video. But the more we become calm and peaceful and create a space within us, the less anxiety will be a problem in our waking lives. And trust me, I understand the many ways that anxiety can show up and how it can get you. And that's why I wanted to do this video, because anxiety can be crippling. But I want everybody to know who's watching this that there are ways to deal with it. There are ways to overcome it. And there are ways to take control of your life so that anxiety won't be crippling. So let's listen to some more of these nuggets. Let's keep going.
I am tired and I want to take a nap all day. I have no motivation. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to work. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want want to hang out with anyone. I don't.
Did you know that reassurance seeking, reassuring yourself, telling yourself that you'll be okay, did you know that that actually makes your anxiety worse? This is something that so many people don't know about, even therapists, right? I'm a trained therapist, I'm a licensed therapist, specializing in anxiety-related disorders, using an evidence-based type of therapy, and there are so many things that we think help, that even therapists do in session with their clients that we think help, but actually make it worse. So if you look at the actual research of reassurance, so that's when you ask someone to tell you that you're going to be okay. It's when you tell yourself that you're going to be okay. Every person who has anxiety knows what I'm talking about. You probably have told yourself 1,000,001 times, it's going to be fine, I'm going to be fine, it's going to be okay. And obviously it doesn't work, or you wouldn't be watching this video probably. So instead of saying it's okay or I'll be okay, I want you to say, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I can handle it. I will figure it out. And the reason that this is more helpful is because at the end of the day, we don't know if we're going to be okay. And so you're trying to convince or logic your way into believing something that's not true. The other thing that I see that people often think helps is rumination. Rumination is not problem solving. Thinking about trying to figure out why you are the way you are, or thinking about how to plan and prepare for the 400 different worst case scenarios, like that's not problem solving, because at the end of the day, you could ruminate about the 400 worst case scenarios and how many times do you get to the situation and it was either A, better than you thought, or B, it was the 401 worst case scenario that you didn't plan for. And the last thing I want to remind you is you cannot get rid of anxiety. Stop trying to get rid of anxiety. I need you to create a different relationship with your anxiety. There are two models of the type of therapy I use. One is called habituation, which is a fancy way of saying when you expose someone to something that's uncomfortable or scary over and over time, they start to become desensitized or less anxious or feel fearful of it. But if you look at the research, the second model, which is referred to as inhibitory learning, this is when you create a different relationship with your uncomfortable emotions. That has been found time and time again to be the most effective way to handle your anxiety. The reason being is you cannot get rid of anxiety. And I say this in my videos all the time, but I'm just going to continue to say it so you can continue to remember it. Anxiety is not the issue. Your attempt to get rid of your anxiety is the issue. And so if you follow the inhibitory learning model, which is basically this notion that anxiety is going to come up. Anxiety does not have to be a bad thing. Anxiety will not last for forever. I'm going to lean into the anxiety. If you adopt that stance and live your life in alignment with that behaviorally, your anxiety will feel much more manageable. But it will not go away, but it will feel more manageable. If this resonated with you, please follow along. I have a lot more where this came from. And yeah, I will talk to you guys soon.
I like that. What she says is anxiety doesn't go away, but it becomes more manageable. And that lends to everything that I've been saying. This might be a foreign concept to a lot of you, but anxiety can be a tool. When it shows up, it's an opportunity for you to deal with it, right? But it's also an opportunity for you to dig into what's causing the anxiety. Why did it show up? What am I feeling right now? What was this trigger that triggered this anxiety? And once we identify what those triggers are, then we can understand why it triggered us. We can understand how to deal with that trigger if it shows up again. We get better equipped. So every time it shows up, every time a situation happens, that gives us more information to put in our toolkit to be able to deal with it in the future. And when that happens, you'll experience fewer panic attacks, or at the very least, that same trigger will not have the same impact that it did in this moment. It'll get less and less, which leads us to live in a better feeling, more controllable life. I hope that came across. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't or if you have any questions, but let's keep going.
Holy cow. So I'm an ER doctor, and I'm going to show you one of the coolest ways to break a panic or anxiety attack. Sour candies. How sour? The more sour, the better. Why? Because the intense sour taste acts as a sudden shock to your nervous system, which helps redirect your focus away from the racing thoughts or overwhelming feelings of anxiety. This sudden shift activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which then helps you calm down. This works similar to other grounding techniques like placing a bag of ice on the back of your neck. While this isn't a cure for anxiety or panic disorders, it can serve as a quick trick to break the cycle during an acute episode, giving you enough pause to regain a sense of control. Give it a shot and let me know if it worked for you.
Anxiety can make it feel like there's something physically wrong with you, even when there's not. Here are 4 weird physical symptoms that can actually be caused by anxiety from a licensed therapist and certified trauma professional. Make sure you listen to the last. It tends to catch the most people off guard. First, anxiety can make your throat feel sore or tight, even like there is a literal lump in your throat. This is referred to as a globus sensation in medical terms and is a direct result of muscle bracing from anxiety. Second, disrupted breathing, either difficulty getting a full breath, tightness in chest, or heart palpitations. The fight-flight response is a component of anxiety, prioritizes oxygen and therefore blood flow to the muscles and away from your internal organs. This can make breathing feel weird and labored. Third, numbness, dizziness, or tingling. Remember, since blood flow is prioritized to the muscles, a lot of times this means that tingling will come to the muscles in the appendages, your arms and legs, while dizziness or lightheadedness is common due to lack of oxygen in the brain. And fourth, depersonalization and derealization. These out-of-body experiences can feel really weird and scary, but they're directly connected to the elevated levels of adrenaline in your bloodstream from the fight or flight response from anxiety. This can look like your limbs feeling strange, your face looking weird in the mirror, life feeling unreal, feeling detached from reality, disconnected from your body, or like everything is moving in slow motion. If your symptoms are negatively impacting your life, consider learning more about managing your mental health, regulating your central nervous system, and even reaching out to a professional for help with managing or reducing those symptoms. Life doesn't have to be like that, and you don't have to suffer alone.
Yeah.
Foods that make you anxious. Anything that raises and then drops your blood sugar. Hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, can go with anxiety, panic, brain fog, upset stomach, headaches. And so think of them as high glycemic foods, foods that quickly raise your blood sugar because your pancreas sees it and goes zap with insulin, and then it can drop it below normal. So think bread, pasta, potatoes, rice, sugar, fruit juice, just unwrapped fruit sugar. And you always want to be curious about what's going on, not furious. So when you're anxious, ask yourself, so what did I eat?
I used to wake up.
That's a really good nugget. I think a lot of us underestimate how much food can impact the feeling of anxiety, especially like he said, when we're eating a lot of high sugar foods, a lot of high carbohydrate foods, because you get that initial boost, that energy increase, and then as soon as that starts wearing off, you plummet, and that can lead to feelings of anxiety. And sometimes it's just a physiological response, which can mimic the feelings of anxiety. And I say this, and I know this because I used to be 334 pounds at my biggest. Right now, I'm around 200 or so, 201, 199. We're going to say 199. But I'm saying that to say that I went off of sugar. I went off of carbs. I did intermittent fasting consistently. And what I noticed during that time is overall, after a while of doing that, I just felt naturally more calm, naturally just more at ease, in a state of peace. My moods were more stable for a consistent period of time. I didn't have mood fluctuations. And because of all of the research and work I had been doing when it comes to food and the effects of sugar on the body, it just became clear to me that I'm like, yep, me eating cleaner, I just noticed that I feel better overall. My mood is more stable. So, I wanted to include that video because I think there's a lot of truth to that. We really need to pay more attention to the foods that we're eating, the amount of sugar that we're consuming, and also equally as important, the time of day that we're consuming it. I won't get into all that in this video here, but just think about it. The earlier you consume that type of stuff in the day, the more you give your body a chance to burn through all of that, so that your nights will become a little bit more peaceful. I'll just stop it there. I'm not a dietitian. I'm just talking about the experiences that I've had, and I think there's a lot of validity and truth to what that doctor just said, because I've seen it in my own life. I noticed that when I'm eating cleaner, I just feel better. I feel clearer. I have less brain fog and less food noise, and I just feel better. So I offer that to you if anxiety is an issue for you, and also if eating cleaner is an issue for you also. So I hope these videos help.
Every single day thinking that I was dying or that I was going to die. If I had a chest pain, it had to be a heart attack. If I had a headache, that's a brain tumor. If there was a random twitch or tingle, that's ALS. I saw every doctor known to man. I Googled every symptom. I obsessed, I cried, I panicked. Every day literally felt like my last day. Obviously, I didn't want to live like that. I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know how not to live like that. And I couldn't find anything that didn't cost $1 million that could help me not feel that way. And that's why I built this. That's why I built Panic Proof. It's everything I wish I had when I was stuck in that loop. The book explains it, the course walks you through it, and the coaching personalizes it step by step, hand in hand, tailored to you. Start wherever you are, but just start. Don't stay stuck. Links in my bio. Peace.
And hey, I shout out to Panic Proof on TikTok for this one. I haven't read that book, but one of the purposes of me putting out this video is to expose my viewers to tools that they can use. Hey, maybe you check out his book and see if something in it resonates with you. See if something helps you. And if it does, please come back to the comments and drop the nugget that really helped you. If you do get that book and it does resonate with you and it helps you in some way, help out the community, let them know. But all of our stories are valid. And like I said, it's a tool that people can use if you haven't heard about it already. And so I wanted to put this video in. Let's keep going.
Who here feels some level of public speaking anxiety? Okay, just about everybody. What if I could show you a tool where in 20 seconds it could go away? Sounds too good to be true, right? In 20 seconds. Okay. I want everybody to do a quick exercise, really quick exercise with me. Just for the moment, take 15 seconds, close your eyes, and think of your biggest public speaking fear. As if you're on stage, thousands of people, and you blank out and you forget. Just visualize that. Close your eyes for a quick second. I'll tell you when to open your eyes. Okay, you can open your eyes now. Everyone got a little bit of a picture of the anxiety? Yeah? Okay. I want you to do everything I tell you to do now. Everything. I'm not going to do that exercise, I promise. But just focus on what I'm telling you to do, okay? Focus on the right toe and your right foot. Just focus on it, okay? Don't move it, don't do anything with it. Just feel your awareness there. Now I want you to start wiggling it like this. Just tap it like so. Just the right toe, okay? Keep doing that. Right toe, right toe, right toe, right toe, right toe. Now stop the right toe. I want you to bring all of your attention to your left toe now. Do the same thing. Now in your shoes, it'll feel a little uncomfortable. You're trying to wonk your foot a little bit, trying to get it down. It's okay. Now let's do right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Keep doing that. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Now we're going to go really ambitious. I want you to do right toe and then pinky toe, the small toe and the right foot. So forget about the left foot, just the right toe and then the pinky. So big, small, big, small, big, small. It's going to feel really awkward in your shoe, but just try doing it. Big toe, small toe. Big toe, small toe. Feels awkward, right? Okay, let's try with the left foot now. Big toe, small toe. Big toe, small toe. Now, for the last one, both toes, both pinkies. Toes, pinkies. Toes, pinkies. Bring all of your focus here. We're feeling it? Okay, stop here for a quick second. How much were you thinking about your anxiety in that moment? 0. But it was top of mind right before that. So what you did during that exercise was you shifted your focus to something else. You shifted your focus to something that had so much of your attention that you couldn't think about anything else. This is the power of focus. Your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. But the problem is right before a presentation, what do we focus on? I hope I do well. Let me get my notes out. Let me make sure everyone in the crowd knows who I am. I want to make sure I deliver. You're focusing on the wrong thing. When we come in with that kind of focus, we're not going to do well. So the trick is to focus on something that is so dynamic, that is constantly moving, that you can't think about anything else.
I like that. I really like that video. That's the last video that I mentioned before. So how many of you guys did it in that moment live in time? If not, I invite you to go back and do it. I thought that was a cool technique because a lot of times it's just simply changing your focus. And that's what can heed off a lot of panic attacks. That's what can diminish a lot of anxiety in that moment. I don't know why I can't talk today. That's what can diminish a lot of anxiety in a given moment. So I thought that video was really cool. I did it and it helped me too. So as the warrior, I recognize that we're all growing together. We're all living this life together. A lot of times I'm learning just like you are when you're watching these videos, and I share them for that reason. There are a lot of things that I do know, but there's a lot of things that I continue to learn too. So that is a lot of the reason for this channel. Hey, I hope these videos resonated with you. I hope it gave you some nuggets, at least some tools on how to deal with anxiety or how to look at anxiety, and it'll begin to change your perception of how much power you have over anxiety. It doesn't have to overtake your life. If any of these nuggets resonated with you, like always, I invite you to check out those creators on TikTok. And if you got any nuggets from this, hey, drop a comment below. If you went out and checked out that book that I told you about, let me know what you learned from it. Let me know if you got any wisdom from this. And if you appreciate these videos, drop a like. Until next time, this is the Warrior Phoenix. Thank you for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and blessings.